So imagine if our world was occupied by an alien or a supernatural species who had somehow separated itself upon arrival. Once luminous extraterrestrials from another world, perhaps fleeing their own dying world, only to find themselves all separated into two different lesser beings. Beings who were mere fragments of the good and the bad. So, in other words, one inherited the good that once was in me, and one acted out all the bad, perhaps multiplying it exponentially. Beings who were mere fragments of the good and the bad. So, in other words, the one inherited the good that once was in the being, and one acted out the bad, perhaps multiplying it exponentially, having it increase and kind of live off of itself almost. This is a story of Thra, of the Skeksis and the Mystics, the story of the Gelflings and the Podlings. This is the philosophical commentary on life and death, the circle that it is, not a straight line. The possibilities of past and future, how nightmares of what might not ever be if we die. Where will we end up when we die? Where were we 1,000 years ago? And although somehow achieving some level of immortality, having a reoccurring ghost of a memory, of suffering and pain that existed once, and the necessity of self-preservation by steering clear of such possibilities, because the end that would usually be inevitable might just be dust, or no afterlife. All the inhabitants of Thra, or I should say the natives of Thra, know where they end up, because they are part of a continuous history that has been a circle of life and death for many trines, many years, and every being's spirit or essence can be reintroduced and reshaped, just like all energy, as it states later in this show. Talks about that, how energy can't be gotten rid of. It can't it can't disappear. It just changes form. It's the energy just changes form. It can't be eliminated, just repurposed, rebooted or reincarnated. All energy just changes form, and it can't be eliminated, just repurposed, rebooted, or reincarnated, if you want to look at it that way. This is the power of Thra, the story of Thra, and their adaptation to an alien invasion, a supernatural infiltration, one or the other or both. Thra, a wondrous planet encircled by three suns. At its center, the crystal of truth, the heart of Thra, the source for all life. One of the most important parts of this is that the heart is a source for all life on the planet, but also a network for all life to gather and communicate. An interplanetary network of sorts. The crystal connected all the creatures of Thra. So that's the name. That's another important, really, really amazing thing to kind of to remember and be reminded of here, is that the continuous motion of communication, of energy, of these things that are moving around. So it's almost like life is everywhere. It's definitely reminiscent of the Force, or of Star Wars. These things that really just a celebration of life, and that's beautiful to me. I think that's just absolutely beautiful. So there are 7 clans of Gelfling. Gelfling is singular and plural. Vapra in the mountain city of Harar. These are the more cultured, perhaps, Nordic lands. They also are supposedly the most cultured and celebrate knowledge. The fierce Stonewood. They dwell in an endless forest where there are famous battles that have taken place, renowned for their warriors and their ability to conquer in battle. The gentle Grotton, who live deep beneath the ground, underground. They're kind of underground dwellers. Their advantage is that they are close to the inner planet, feeling closer to the mother planet and Mother Nature. So here we are at the beginning of this series, and really beautiful stuff. And there's a lot of mirroring that happens. If you notice, if you remember the original film, it's really great to see how on the money everything is, how deep in the lore this is. And I'm so excited that this came out as a real live action prequel as opposed to a like an animated series. Like, that's originally what this was supposed to be. It was an animated series, and I'm just ecstatic that this actually happened. It's like I'm willing to support Netflix for the time being now because of this amazing thing that has happened. It's just unbelievable. Truly is unbelievable here. So here we are, just like the beginning of the original Jim Henson film, we are introduced to the Skeksis' attempt trying to replenish themselves with life force enhancement that is absorbed into their eyes through purple beams of light bouncing off the crystal of truth. Enter the Skeksis. We have Mark Hamill as the evil scientist, hell-bent on discovering the way to make the crystal become their fountain of youth again. Benedict Wong as a general. He is in the Doctor Strange universe, in the Marvel MCU, of course, but I first learned of his actual brilliance as an actor when I first saw him in Marco Polo, which is also another Netflix series, by the way. This show was extraordinary with him in it. Simon Pegg and Warwick Brownlow Pike are both the Chamberlain. As a matter of fact, several characters, and I'm still kind of try to jump in a little bit deeper and see what is going on there. A lot of the Skeksis have 2 people play them, and they're in all 10 episodes. So I think they either doubled the voices over and combined them, or only use them for specific parts, and I'm trying to figure that out. And I still need to rewatch it to figure out what they did there. But a lot of the characters have 2 names next to them. So several of the Skeksis have two actors playing that same. I know why. Duh! I just figured it out. It's the person inside the puppet, of course. The purpose. Duh! I just see what happens. See what you do for me. Thanks. You helped me remember that. Thanks for helping me with that. Appreciate you. So Simon Pegg's in here. Keegan-Michael Key is the ritual master. The real standout of pretty much all the voices was Jason Isaacs. By the way, his Emperor voice was absolutely extraordinary. His vocal authoritative depth commands the narrative, shakes fear out of you, and makes you believe that he is the Emperor. Just stellar performance on his part. Just really amazing. So the Emperor lies to the others, exclaiming that the scientist is hard at work for a solution to their lack of essence problem, and then reprimands him afterwards. The score with the original theme is played at the title screen, and the weight and depth of the original permeates it from then on. Introduced to our 2 protagonists, Mira and Ryan, almost like the beginning of Titanic. It's this hustling for fruit, running around with laughter and playful banter, is accompanied by hopeful Irish jigs compelled by rapid staccato violins, 16th notes. So that's very much just like the beginning of Titanic, where he has to hustle his way, swindle his way out of getting money so he can swindle his ticket to get his ticket onto his lucky golden ticket that he gets to get onto the Titanic with, the fake Titanic. I'm going to read that again. While dream fasting, our 2 protagonists discover a spitter, which is a giant spider, and Ryan is ridiculed by Rian is ridiculed by his military father for his lack of commitment to anything that would encourage his father's favor. Mira and Rian decide to continue their search for truth to uncover the mysterious spitter and what they witnessed. Next, we have Bria, who has a passion for life and a thirst for knowledge, excited to just be and exercise her mind. The building of relationships between the 2 sisters here is priceless, showing the younger one wanting to learn everything possible, whereas the older sister is sensible and wise. Next, we have the Underground Gelflings and an introduction to the evidence of purple rot, and that is now an evil sickness that distorts behavior in beings to an overwhelming violent outburst. So anyway, what are your thoughts so far with this series? Are you loving it? Are you enjoying it? Or you think it's just meh? I actually do enjoy it thoroughly. The music is not nearly as good, of course, and I know that it would be a lot more expensive to get a full orchestra the whole way through, but they do make up for it with, the music is still good. It's not as good as the original, but still great. I'm blown away by the camera work. There's a lot of over-the-top camera work in this. There's a lot of zooming in where it's almost felt unnecessary. I mean, there are moments where it was kind of, almost there, but not. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, if it was necessary or not. I'm not quite positive. But anyway, what are your thoughts so far? Hopefully, once again, there's no spoilers here. Just jumping into this full force and hoping that you will join me for the next one. Thanks for joining. This is the Fanatics of Film. Have a fantastic day.